Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Erick John. I'm basically just starting this YouTube channel and just try to make it a little bit different, and as opposed to just talking about interest rates and what's escrow and I wanted to have AI interview me. So I asked ChatGPT to ask me a series of questions that I'm going to be answering for you right now. And obviously, if this is something that you're interested in, or if you have any specific questions, feel free to leave them on the comments. So let's get started with the first question. Well, first thing that comes into mind, when I first started, I did not want to talk about real estate to my friends and family. Even though real estate is my business, I refuse to let people know. And it's only because I had that lack of confidence in what I was doing, and I was very new. I didn't have any transactions that I thought, why would they want to know about what I do? And I think that's a big mistake when you're first starting. Now, obviously, I'm posting a lot more. If you don't follow me, please follow me, erickjohn.realtor. And Instagram, my YouTube handle is the same. Facebook handle is the same, so feel free to please follow me. But that was basically it. So when I started, I did not want to talk about, about what I did, how I could help people. And in this business being so people driven, it is super important for you to tell people, hey, this is what I do. This is how I can help you. And it's something that I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm getting more comfortable in letting people know. So that was a really good first question. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is an interesting question. And this goes into a transaction that was a little bit tough. This transaction happened last year, and it was this very young couple that I would want to say that had a little bit of unrealistic expectations from what they could get from a purchase of their home. So we essentially had put in an offer to this property that needed some work. It wasn't the newest property. It was updated. It was move-in ready. It was beautiful. It had a lot of land. It had a lot of trees. There's a lot of potential in this specific property. We had negotiated with the sellers a few things that were gonna stay with the house, a few things to convey, including a lot of really luxury appliances that were there. But then towards the end of the transaction, once we had the inspection period, before removing our contingency, they found out there's some things that needed to be fixed, and then there's other things that came up. But this brought them a lot of, I would say, fear. They were getting a lot of buyer's remorse, and we were still negotiating after the fact that we were almost removing every single contingency, and they were just not wanting to. And obviously, it's rightfully so. If you're afraid of the property, you're obviously gonna be, thinking about probably all the negatives. We had already done a lot of additional inspections, and they were still having buyer's remorse. At this point, we were almost at the day that we had to remove contingencies, and they were still going back and forth, like a lot. So essentially what I had to tell them is, hey, if this is not the right house, because just based on the conversations that we're having, there's obviously a lot of fear now coming into closing. And I had to tell them and be honest, if this is not the right house for you, because you want something that's more modern or more updated. In their case, I think they just wanted something that was, completely rebuilt, and this was just not the house for them. So I had to essentially tell them, hey, let's just pull out of escrow. Let's continue looking at that house that you're looking for. and you're going to be happier. Because if we close with that fear in the back of your mind, that's probably not going to go away, especially once we're having questions about the electrical panels, the plumbing, foundation, this, that. It just didn't seem the right property for them. And at the end of the day, we ended up pulling out of escrow, and I had to find them another property that they loved, and they were absolutely happy. So that's the story about me having to tell a client to not buy the house. That's a really good question. And here's the thing about real estate. A lot of people think about real estate being this glamorous career that you're always dressing up and you're doing your videos and doing your property tours and hosting open houses. And let me tell you, it is not that at all. I think if you're getting into real estate because you think there's gonna be all this luxury or glamour to it, this is the wrong career for sure. Honestly, I think the real reason why you get into real estate is because you love helping people. You just have to. I came from the background of retail management. I did retail management for, I want to say, over 10 years until, I would get a lot of people, family members, friends, that I would help them. And they would always say, hey, you are awesome at helping people. You should be in real estate. And I think it started clicking. I love helping people. I think that's what I want to start doing. I want to start helping people get keys into their first house or invest. And I think money might be the byproduct. If you're a great agent and you're helping people and you love doing what you do and it shows, you're just going to get a lot more clients, more referrals, more family members that are going to be telling everybody, hey, go with Erick because he's great. But again, I think a lot of people will think money is the reason why, but that cannot be the main reason. That cannot. There's a lot of opportunity in getting money, obviously, with real estate. The better you are at listening to people, the more clients you're going to get, the more transactions you're going to be able to close, the more money you're going to get. But I don't think that's the sole purpose. I think you are here to deal with people's emotions. You're here to help them out in the process, simplifying as much as you can what it is to purchase a house, because it is not easy. 100%. I know it's not easy buying a house. And obviously at the end of the day, being able to hand somebody their keys to them and their family, their hard-earned money, and being able to say, hey, I helped you do this, that's why I do it. There's been so many people that will cry at the end, myself included, and say, hey, I didn't think it was possible. Thank you so much for helping me. Now I'm able to truly enjoy my life with my family because now I have the home that I wanted to have. So that's primarily why I do it. And I think going back to the first question of something that I refuse to do is talk about real estate and talk about how you can help people. Real estate is not easy. Purchasing a home, it's not easy. And you have to understand it's very intimidating, especially for somebody that's never gone through the process, somebody that's used to just renting and not knowing where to start. Like, that's step number one. A lot of the times is super tough. But if I was able to talk more about it earlier in my career, I would have been able to help a lot more people. And I think it boils down, for me, was a lot of self-confidence, a lot of self-doubt. Can I do this? Can I help somebody? And it's things that you start picking up the more you do it. Like, the more transactions you do, the more you talk to people, the better you get. And it's so much easier to talk about real estate once you have the experience to back it. So I think that's what's made me a lot better or a better agent right now than I was. 4 or 5 years ago when I started. And let's go to the last question. What do you hope people say about you after working with you? I think I want people to say, hey, Erick made it super easy. And he made one of the biggest decisions of our lives feel easy. He helped me and he simplified everything. He was there for me. He gave me updates and he gave me real advice. So the worst thing that I can think about somebody thinking is, oh, he just wanted to close that property or the transaction. That's absolutely terrible. That's something that no real estate agent should say. We don't do this just to close a transaction. The good ones really do it to help families, being able to get the keys to that one thing that maybe before felt impossible. And after talking to me, they're able to say, hey, thank you so much for the process. It was a lot easier, or it was easy because you made it easy. I'll give you an example just to finish the podcast. I had a family that I started helping, I want to say at the end of 2024. This young couple came from Live. I'm sorry if I'm, telling everybody who you are, but they came from Costa Rica. They had studied in the States and were currently renting. And the house they were renting, rents are not cheap here in San Diego. They were paying a few $1,000s, and they said that they had leaks in their house. Like their landlord would not help them if they needed any help with, there was an issue with the window, there was an issue with plumbing, with the leak. Apparently they had to do it themselves, and had to tell the landlord, I'll just do it if you just want to pay me for not even the work that they were doing, but just for the parts that they were purchasing, which I thought it was crazy. So I met them at the end of 2024. Then they kind of decided, hey, you know what, we're going to wait. Let me just wait. And they decided to wait up until, I want to say that they reached back in March or April. When they reached back, hey, okay, cool. Let's start talking about the process. Because everything, once you start buying a house, everything starts trickling down quicker. It's like a snowball effect. Like once you get approved, now you have to look at houses and then you put in offers. And everything seems overwhelming. Especially if it's your first time that you're purchasing a property, right? So they decided to wait. They went on vacation. So they went to Europe, their long life dream aside of purchasing a home. After they came back, everything moved quick. We looked at a lot of houses. Like we're looking at houses. It was like 7, 8 p.m. and they would be like, oh, I don't want to bother you, Erick. I'm like, no, we have to look at houses. Because you're making a decision now. They had their one house they wanted to put an offer, maybe getting cold feet. We went to check a different house in a different neighborhood. They didn't like it. We ended up getting into contract. Long story short, they closed the transaction. They just sent me a few months ago a message, and they were like, Erick, thank you so much for making it so easy. She got pregnant, so they wanted to start a family. So they started their family. And to this point, I still have contact with them. And they're like, thank you so much for making our dreams a reality. And that's really the reason why we do this. We do this to help people, to simplify, to put their needs first, and to really listen to them. Not because we're going to get a paycheck, but this is exactly why we do it. So I hope you learned a little bit about me in Real Estate Talk with Erick. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. And if you like, please leave your questions on the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can in the coming weeks. And hopefully you'll subscribe and you'll hear more about me.